Your life is shaped by your thoughts. Changing your outlook could have a profound effect on your life. Low self-esteem, which is associated with critical internal dialogue, affects 85% of the population at some point. What on earth is going on in our brains? That's an incredible quantity that should make us pause and think. How to rid your mind of destructive thinking patterns is the challenging and maybe life-altering topic we'll be discussing today. Having said that, there's more to it than just ignoring your inner critic. Within your grasp is the means to unlock a life filled with greater depth and purpose. Stoicism sheds light on a basic truth. Our ideas, not mental noises, are the dominant powers that decide our level of happiness or unhappiness. This was something that the Stoics fully understood. Even if we can't alter the external world, we have control over how we perceive it. Despite the emotional and mental chaos around them, these ancient thinkers resisted with reason and reasoning. I will now demonstrate the consequences of pessimism and provide you with some Stoic strategies to conquer them. In order to thrive, not only survive, we shall look at methods to maximize the usage of our minds. Fascinated yet wary? Very nicely. Always be here with me. This might challenge your beliefs, but it could also help you grow as a person. Please subscribe and share this with others who are also attempting to grow. If you like today's content, I have a small favor to ask before we begin. Okay, I shall start now. Understanding the problem. Having a bad day every so then isn't enough to be gloomy. Everything from our emotions to our decisions, to our relationships, to our sense of purpose in life is affected by this all-encompassing dilemma. It may serve as an invisible anchor, blocking our path to success no matter how hard we try. However, how can one think negatively? Optimism, self-doubt, and low expectations form its core. It lies to us, telling us that we are inadequate and that failure is inevitable. After then, why are we unable to escape the situation? The problem, say the Stoics, is not with events per se, but with how we interpret them. People are troubled not by physical objects, but by how they perceive them. As Epictetus renownedly said, this is a fundamental concept. Our limited viewpoint, not the environment around us, is the real obstacle. Carl Jung, a psychologist, contributed to a deeper understanding of this. He said that our subconscious minds are the birthplace of much of our pessimism. As far as Jung is concerned, fate is the unconscious taking charge of your life until you become conscious of it. These deeply held beliefs, which are often formed throughout childhood, can gently impact how we see ourselves and our skills. Negative thoughts have an impact on all of our decisions and have the potential to become self-fulfilling prophecies. Envision yourself clinging to the sand while you try to row a boat. We become stuck in a rut when we dwell on the bad. But Stoicism equips us with instruments for reasonable and logical examination of our thoughts. As Marcus Aurelius points out in his Meditations, we should examine our thoughts critically and reject those that are destructive or illogical. By critically examining our thoughts, we are able to free ourselves from mental snares and regain command. The influence of peer pressure should also not be disregarded. In a society where we're often being told we're not enough, not smart enough, rich enough, or successful enough, it's easy for negative beliefs to take root. Hey, guess what? Stoicism will help us fight back. We may conquer our uncertainties and concerns if we pay attention to its guidance. Origins of negative thinking. Let's reflect on a time in your youth, ideally one that is quite clear in your memory. Think back to the first time someone rejected you, injured you, or made you feel inadequate. Close your eyes and try to imagine it. Perhaps it was the time you expressed your love for someone, only to find out that they didn't reciprocate. Perhaps it was a period when you gave it your all, yet still fell short of meeting the expectations of someone important to you. Is it tangible to you? That weight on your shoulders, that uncertain confidence? Most of us plant the seeds of cynicism here. Like weeds in a garden, they slowly but definitely spread until they reach us. Permit me to tell you the story of Sarah. This woman, Sarah, was intelligent, motivated, and ambitious, but a scar from her youth lingered. The day her angry father told her she would never amount to anything. Even though she was a little child, their comments haunted her. Whenever something bad happened to her, whether it was a failed test, a promotion denial, or the loss of a loved one, the voice would say, "You're not enough." Sarah's story is common. Actually, it's rather typical. Perhaps you too possess a voice of that kind. Perhaps it isn't your dad's voice. It might be the critical comments of a classmate, the lack of communication from a buddy who isn't there, or the harsh remarks of a former romantic partner. Over time, these events start to shape who we are and how we see the world. Psychologists call this cognitive bias, when your brain starts to believe certain things, only because you think them often enough. Your brain looks for evidence to support the assumption that you are unloved when you tell yourself or someone else that. When someone doesn't reply to your text, your mind automatically assumes the worst, rather than considering the possibility that they are simply busy. The issue is that you are not the one who created these patterns. They are often handed down from one generation to the next. Given that her father informed Sarah that she wasn't good enough, where did he obtain that idea? Maybe even his own parents had told him something along these lines. This vicious cycle continues, generation after generation. Now, nevertheless, I must inquire, are you inclined to continue bearing these tales? Would you like your history to control your present and future? Because you have to accept this truth. Negative thinking is not someone else's fault, but you must do all you can to overcome it. While external factors are beyond our control, the Stoics maintained that our reactions are entirely within our sphere of influence. No matter where your negative thoughts come from in the past, as a result of rejection, suffering, or other experiences, you have the ability to change the story. Stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what story have I been carrying around and can I let go of it now? For the simple reason that the tale of your love and your life has just begun. The pen is at the ready and a new chapter is about to begin. Renew your mind. Just for a second, let's picture this. You find yourself looking at a reflection in a mirror, but it's not the one you were hoping to see. Feelings of uncertainty, fear, and remorse weigh you down in this version of yourself. We want you to pause and reflect. When was the last time you took a good, hard look at yourself and felt free, proud, and hopeful? Never fear if memory lapses. Many people can relate. But here's the thing. Maybe you can start rewriting your story now by revitalizing your thoughts. The story of Alex is mine to tell. Tragically, Alex had just ended a relationship. Like when your mind is stuck in a loop of all your wonderful memories and you feel like you can't catch your breath. He asked himself, what went wrong? Over and over again. Why wasn't it enough that I was there? Can you relate to this? Maybe you, too, have had the delight of remembering all the wonderful times spent with a former romantic partner. However, Alex discovered the hard way that rehashing old grievances hinders progress toward the future. Like rescuing a house from a state of chaos, rearranging your ideas does the same. Think of your thoughts as property. Some are beautiful and practical, like remembering a kind word said by a loved one. But others, the belief that you are unlovable or worthless, is one example of a damaged and outdated belief system that occupies too much room. Deciding what to keep and what to let go of is the first step toward mental renewal. Then how shall we begin? With all due respect, forgiving oneself is just as crucial as forgiving other people. Think back on a relationship where you lost your cool, either by expressing or failing to say something you intended. Allowing yourself to feel guilty or regretful makes you feel like you're constantly carrying a heavy burden. But suppose you set it down. The phrase, I'm human, and it's okay to grow from my mistakes, could be a helpful mantra to keep in mind. The second thing that might help you clear your brain is to give thanks. Think of someone whose love for you has been deep and flawed, right? Now, I want you to do something. Possible candidates include a parent, friend, or even a furry family member. What were your thoughts about them? Do I need to worry? Thanks a lot. No matter how small or insignificant anything may seem, there are always wonderful things in life, and that love confirms you're worthy and reminds you of that. The last step in revitalizing your mind is to nourish it with truth. As per the Stoics, it is our thoughts that shape our reality. Thinking, I'll never be loved again, it might cause you to behave in a way that makes love appear impossible to get. Saying things to yourself like, I can love and be loved, will have the opposite effect. Alex learned this lesson in the end. He made an effort to be among upbeat people, write down his thoughts and count his blessings. The weight of his grief was gradually lifted as time went on. As he let go of his burdensome ideas, he became more open to the love that was truly his. In other words, what harmful beliefs are you holding on to? Which realities would you choose to accept instead of them? There is no need for the love narrative you are living through to end on a tragic note. It may be rewritten with a new outlook. Surround yourself with positivity. Sit back, unwind, and think about the people that matter most to you. Put yourself in their shoes and hear what they have to say. Is your opinion of them now changing? Are they a source of strength or a burden? If anything, do they amplify your feelings of inadequacy and terror rather than love? Optimism and competence? Your love narrative, like everything else in your life, is shaped by the people and energies you surround yourself with. Tell me the story of Mia. The connection seemed like a dream to Mia. Cracks began to open up as time went on. Since her husband wasn't supportive of her goals and was fast to criticize her, she felt inadequate. Outside of their relationship, Mia's social circle was not exactly bright, what with friends who relished in gossip and co-workers who complained incessantly. The gradual decline of Mia's optimism in life led her to conclude that it was hopeless at best. Maybe you can relate to this emotion. Maybe you're coping with someone or something that is dimming the light in your life right now. If you're interested, I have a question for you. Imagine you could change your immediate surroundings. Picture a world where positive, encouraging individuals are always around you, rather than the opposite. If you're not sure where to begin, ask those closest to you for advice. Consider the one friend or family member that always manages to brighten your mood just by talking to you. Maybe it's a person who has supported you through all the ups and downs of your love relationships, someone who can relate to your experiences and offer advice on how to go forward. Get in touch with them more. Embrace a supportive circle of individuals who uplift you and hold you in high esteem. However, getting away from toxic individuals and situations is the tough part. I get it, it's not easy. Someone you have a deep connection to or have known for a long time may be that person. Still, you should reevaluate the connection. If spending time with them often leaves you feeling down or confused, no need to cut ties completely, but setting boundaries might help maintain harmony. The environment that you create for yourself is described below. To surround yourself with optimism, it's just as vital to watch what you let into your thoughts as it is to surround yourself with positive people. Take a close look at the media you consume. Are you feeling inadequate as you go through some social media profiles? Is your mood getting worse as you listen to music or watch TV? Shift gears. Those that inspire you should be followed. Listening to podcasts or reading books may be a great way to inspire and encourage oneself. This idea finally clicked for Mia as time went on. She sought out environments where she could feel encouraged and found delight in the little things. Like listening to her favorite upbeat music, she discovered joy in joining a reading group and reconnecting with old friends. Over time, her perspective on life began to improve. And you know what else? Her self-assurance was restored. My question is, who or what makes you the happiest? Who gets to see you when you're shining? Start there. Let the joyous occasions grow from there. Love in your everyday life is more significant than love in a romantic relationship. When you choose a hopeful view, you're picking a story that's full of strength, possibility, and optimism. Take Stoic action. When was the last time you consciously tried to better your life, doing something that reflected your ideal self and was consistent with your ideals is more important than doing anything at all. Take some time to think on your love story. Whether you're in the middle of mending, still dreaming about a prior romance, or experiencing it now, please tell me the role you are playing. Is it more your style to sit back and let life happen? Or are you brave enough to take action and make things happen? Staying committed can transform your life in more ways than one. And I'll show you how in this piece. But before I tell you anything, let me tell you a tale. Give us Daniel. Sophie made a significant impression on Daniel. Despite the strong bond they had, Daniel steered clear of confrontation. If they were to quarrel, he would step back. Daniel would nod in agreement whenever Sophie told him about her goals, even though he never really supported her. His indifference to Sophie, despite his deep love for her, caused their relationship to implode. Daniel learned Stoicism during grieving. The guiding philosophy of focusing on what you can control struck a chord with him, even if it wasn't his first pick. The crushing blow that hit Daniel was the knowledge that he could do nothing except take responsibility for his actions leading up to this point. That was the first step in his journey. Now is the moment to give this back to you. Put yourself in the shoes of the one you love. Maybe something significant happens, like the time you had total paralysis or avoided a difficult subject and now really regret it. Conversely, perhaps you can think of a time when your actions had a significant influence. Just think about that for a second. The great teaching of Stoicism is to pay close attention to one's own thoughts, actions, and emotions. In your love story or life story, how does keeping your cool play out? 1. Do things on purpose. Every choice you make should be based on your principles. Sincerity demands that you speak the truth regardless of the pain it may cause. The simplest, most ordinary acts of compassion are the most profound expressions of love. Picture yourself being there for your partner while they're going through a bad patch, or simply wanting to thank them for everything. 2. Overcome challenges head on. The Stoics dug deep rather than fled when faced with adversity. Maybe you've been avoiding dealing with a problem in your past, or in your relationship, because you're too scared. Is anything standing in your way? If you were to guess what could go wrong, sitting on one's hands is often more dangerous than taking action. 3. Sever relations with the outcomes. Although it may be difficult to accept, it is possible that your objective may remain unfulfilled no matter how hard you try. But it's all right with me. Getting your hands filthy isn't the point of taking action. What matters is that you feel genuine and successful. Daniel began implementing these ideas. He phoned Sophie not to beg her to repay his favor, but to apologize and take responsibility of his behavior. He started to be more present and attentive to others around him. He became a guy he could be proud of over time, regardless of whether Sophie came back or not. In that case, what are you going to accomplish today that is really crucial? Maybe it's time to finally lay down the law, set some boundaries, or go after that long-buried ambition. Get going on it, whatever it is. If you want your love tale or life narrative to have a hero, that hero should do more than just fantasize. They need to take action. That hero is you.